welcome back YouTube. So today we're actually rolling a 3/4, including Meg. Meg's doing the volume sessions as she's just kind of coming back from being sick, but we've got the pleasure of Ifbb Pro Oscar Young. A couple of weeks out from his debut, 2-on-2 debut in Spain. Very much looking forward to it. So it's going to be me, Mark and Oscar today, getting after it. So today we're going to show you my push B session. Like promised, I will go through every single session in detail. Today you're going to get to see push B, and then we will slowly get them all filmed for you and planned now. You've already seen my pull A and both my leg days. So obviously now you're going to get to see push session, and then I think I've got Alex filming the second push session as well, so you will get to see that in detail. So the movements for the session, we're going to start with pec deck, then we're going to do pressing movements. The full outlay of the session you are going to get on the screen in a second, so we'll get stuck into that. But first, we're going to warm up, get some ability work done, and then crack on, get the session smashed. I'm very much up for it. Body weight slowly going up, feeling good. I definitely feel like I'm 95% fully recovered, so volume is going to be at 80% now of what I would see is 100, which you have seen on screen. I'm not quite going to do full volume, but again, you are going to get to see all my sets, all my working sets, and Oscar's and bits of Mark as well. So let's get stuck in, let's get after it. Alex behind the camera today, give him a follow, give him a like, and yeah, fireworks coming through your way, guys. Let's go.
As you can see, I've done some kettlebell pronated, neutral into pronated press, and then I've come in and held on the dips with the spinal protraction. I just feel it's very important before you press, you got to look at the musculature that's been working. So I've done the kettlebell pronated press, something for the AC joint to warm the AC joint up, which is going to be involved in all the pressing. And then as I come here, I focus on the upper trap, lower trap, scapula, get that moving. As you can see, my arms are locked and I'm just depressing. I'm depressing, lifting myself up, depressing, and all that. And then after that, the other thing that I'm doing here is I'm really focused on shortening, stacking everything on top of my rib cage, which is what is giving me this sort of hunched. So you're just trying to prepare the musculature around here, but more importantly, you're trying to prepare the shoulder, being the AC joint, upper trap, lower trap, scapula, and the musculature around the rhomboids. As you can see, Kuba's now started with his core, holding planks and stuff like that, because these are the exercises that are gonna really come into stability once the load is in a disadvantageous position. So his sequence is quite different now. He's doing stop to free his shoulder. And you can see he's probably working from down all the way up. So he started with his trunk and then now he's going up to the shoulder and working all his way up. But very important. I think specificity in warm-ups and mobility is very important. Just don't go and do a random warm-up that you've seen someone else do. And make sure you know your anatomy, even just a simple Google typing, look at the muscles involved in pressing, then go and warm them up specifically to prepare you for the session. You also don't want to do too much and then waste a lot of energy doing that. You just want to use this to slightly get everything amped up, everything ready, but also mentally to be preparing for the session. So if you see no one's talking to no one at this moment in time, everyone's just in their own little bubble. So this is actually helping us achieve so many things all in one. It's just that little moment before game time. And you can see there's, which once again, is just really getting almost the transverse abdominal ready and all the musculature around there, because a lot of what we're going to be doing is going to be based around stacking the rib cage on top of the core, but still maintaining almost that position where the rib cage is slightly flared, if you like, So it's a very, very tricky, it's a tricky thing to have this engaged without, you know what I mean? Without then protracting that. So what we want is we want to maintain the integrity up here, but still be able to stack that rib cage on top of the core without really changing the position here. So that's what we have to go through these drills to try and sort of almost enforce that movement so that it's just there. As soon as then you hold the weight, that comes as second nature. Very, very important. So once again, you can see everything we're doing is really focused around protraction and retraction. And that's because we're gonna need to really make the movement as stable as possible. So then we use counterforce. So if you have the chest, you have the back behind the chest, so then these muscles have that agonist-antagonist relationship. So then if I'm gonna produce force from here, that will depend on how much I'm driving that muscle behind it back into the immovable surface. So then we have to get that muscle behind quite active, so then when the load is here, we can really drive your back into the bench and be able to elicit force from the pec itself. So everything that we're doing is not random. Mostly if you see like, why are these guys doing a lot of back stuff when they're doing chest? That's because this back is what will determine how much we get from the chest.
Freedom of motion. So, reason why I'm using handles rather than actual grip on the pec deck, I want to have freedom of motion at my wrist, which then allows me to actually move my upper arm into the position that I want. Whereas, if you was in a machine that doesn't allow you to do that, mechanically it can put you in a position that you don't really want to be in. For me, the key is actually put my upper arm where it's the most comfortable for me. When I'm doing any fly movement, any pec movement, it's slight semi-pronation at the wrist. So as you can see here, look at my wrist position and look at my upper arm position. If I was to grip the actual handles of the machine, I'm unable to do that. So this just feels far better for me. If something feels better, I'm gonna fucking do it.
Simple. That's a real there.
So as Oscar mentioned, the prehab work for me isn't really any prehab, to be honest. I've got no issues. If anything, keeps me injury free. But not only that, for me, it's literally 10 minutes of work, and that's all it is. 10 minutes of just movement, getting blood flow across my entire body, and mentally prepares me to work for whatever session it is. And that's something I've been religious with for the past year and a half, and that's something I will always continue with. Walking on treadmill does fucking nothing. If you're going to do something that's productive, that's going to prime you to work, but not take away from the session, like Oscar mentioned.
So you see, like, and we haven't spoken, you know, speaking on the side while Kuba was doing his own thing, and I spoke about specificity. If you're going to be pushing while you're walking on a treadmill, are you with me? Another thing that Kuba mentioned, which I really admire about him, he says that's 10 minutes of work. But 10 minutes of work across a week, how many minutes is it if he trains 4 times a week? That's 40 minutes across 2 weeks, across a month. You do the math. These are the small things that are allowing him to jump step by step. But people don't like doing things like this. People like doing big things. But you can't do the big things without doing the small things. How you do that small thing is how you do everything.
Write that down, motherfuckers.
So something worth mentioning is where the handle is, where the actual handle. So if you look at Mark, just go. If you look at Mark's starting point, so you can see the shoulder, he can maintain integrity on the shoulder. He's not all the way back here because he's got no business being back there. So the shoulder just starts in a nice little neutral place because the goal of the movement is to fully shorten the pec. So as you can see, his shoulders, his top line remains square. He's not all the way back there looking for it. You know what I mean? He's not back here. You know, which then doesn't allow him to maintain the sort of position that he needs to be in. So you can see, everything that's not meant to move is not moving.
Exercise number 1, set number 1. We are overloading shorten range here. So we are actually adding a 2-second pause in the shorten range where the load is heaviest. As I explained before in previous videos, indirectly this adds more volume without adding extra sets. So again, more time and attention and spending a little bit longer in the portion of the rep where the challenge is the highest, creating more stimulus on the actual muscle, which is key. It's the tension and stimulus that builds the muscle, not necessarily the loading. So I would say it doesn't matter what load you lift, it's how you do it.
Keep that pose. Nice.
Oh yeah. So, because we've got setting 4 on this machine, and it does all those shorten range, the true failure rep here is on your way to actually hit that rep. At the moment, what you'll notice, guys, is we're taking every single set total failure, but we're not actually taking any sets past failure. With the current volume, how accurate we are, and how hard we can train, taking sets past failure is counterproductive to our development and further progression long term. Write that down as well. Don't let the chest cave in. Yep. As accurate as you can, let's fucking go. There we go. Drive in.
So the first set, always rule number 1, you always challenge with any muscle you're training, you prioritize the short position first, just because we're weakest in that position. That's why I went into setting number 4. And then not only did we challenge the short position, we spent extra time there, the 2 seconds. So wherever you're weakest, that's where there's progress to be made. So always prioritize where you're weakest and spend more time there. Second set, we're now going to go into the mid-range, which is setting number 1. Yep. And again. Yes, sir.
Oh, fucking hell. There's a major key that many people overlook when it comes to pressing, is that's taking the right posture. So you want slight extension. A popular cue is chest up. Now, all this is doing is trying to get someone's sternum to actually lift up. Now, that is a position you need to take for pressing. You want to have your chest in front of your shoulders. When you press like this, your pecs have no real way to do the full work. You need to lengthen them and get in the right posture to do so. So that means slight extension with slight depression and retraction of the scapula, but you don't want to keep your shoulders pinned down and back. That's not what I'm saying. It's basically taking this posture with slight extension at your thoracic. Posture, bracing, breathing, engage. One more rep. Get your posture, regain your posture.
As you can see there, that wasn't really a spot. It was just me making sure it doesn't stick anywhere. You actually just got there by yourself. So once again, we don't take this post failure because this is serving 2 purposes. One is challenging those the pec in like the short and the mid range, and then preparing us more than anything for what's coming next, which is a press. You could call that an appetizer. Now we're going for the main. That's the meat and potatoes.
The most important portion of your pressing is in the stretch and length and range. So this machine actually gives the opportunity to overload that kind of range. So what you'll notice is the first set, we will load this 50-50. So 50 mid peg, 50 length and range, which is the top peg that overloads the stretch. So whenever you are choosing any machines for pressing, always try and pick machines that are heaviest in the stretch and drop off as you shorten the pec. So the sequence of this actual workout is very important because first we over the shorten range where you are the weakest, where you're fresh. Then every single movement thereafter that is matching the strength curve of our muscle. So the resistance profile of the machines matches the strength curve of our actual muscle. So every single movement thereafter is more biased towards overloading the stretch rather than shorten range. And shorten range is already spent from exercise number 1. Cunt. 7. Happy with that. Yep. Good. 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 Come on. Yep. Well done. Easy. Smashed it. Woo. So as you can see now, we've just redistributed the load now from the mid-range to mainly overload length and range. So the load distribution is pretty much 40% here, 60% on top, which again, it's going to match the strength profile of our chest. So we're manipulating the resistance profile of this machine, which is quite incredible. No other machines can really do that. So if you have access to these, make sure you use them.
Up, 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 up. Good. Keep it standard. Good. The set that Kuba's just done there, as you can see, it's a skill for him to do that second to last rep and know that that last rep is not there, just take the eccentric, because then if he then struggles with that and it's a 50-50, that'll take away from his next press. So it's a skill in itself and an ability to be internally aware of when to call it a day and when to press for it.
Yep. All day. That's enough. That's enough. Drop it. That's enough. Don't take these reps now, man. Come on, too close to the show. Come on. Too close to the show. Strong. And drive.
Let's go.
Drive. That's the rep.
Yes, sir.
Beautiful. Well done.
Yes.
When it comes to shoulder pressing, anything above the head, the best way to determine your range of motion is to stand up straight, lift your chest up. How far can you bring your arms up to a comfortable position? If you cannot bring your arm up any further than this, that is your pressing above the head. There's zero reason for you to force your arm any further. When you do, what you're trying to achieve, apart from an injury. Again, we're trying to train muscles. We're not trying to train our joints or connective tissue around it. So take the position that's going to make you the most comfortable and allow you to move the most load safely and accurately. If you've got a chance to do anything above the head, either the neutral grip's far superior. It allows you to actually put your arm path in line with your front delt and clavicle, which is the goal here. So what you'll notice here with overhead movements, not only I'm dead stopping, but I'm taking my arm as deep as I physically can. Any deeper than I'm taking it here, it's going to force some interpretation at my shoulder, so I don't want that. I'm actually going through the maximal range of motion here, and I'm dead stopping to standardize my actual depth. I think it's so important, especially as you start progressing your training, progressing your volume, progressing your loading. I think a lot of people start cutting the reps short. Now, dead stopping and overhead movement for me is king. It allows you to keep your reps standardized and keep your range of motion standardized, which again, range of motion along with your tempo and control is king for hypertrophy. Write that down.
I'm actually going to try and go one lower in terms of the handle, like where Kuba spoke about. Pressing as deep as you can, once again, without repeating myself. This is where we are all weak. So this is where the prize is. So if we're going to be digging deep for the gold, this is where we need to spend more time. We're strong here and strongest there. So we want to be here. But
I've got 7, so 1 right down, but still progress, you know what I mean?
here we are, okay.
Yeah, boy.
Big things. Big cannon delts. Control.
Right.
Down!
Take it. Yes.
Nope. Perfect.
Oh, fucking cunt!
It's this one.
Oh!
It's this dicky arm.
Fuck's sake.
He went on strike.
It's alright, I'm still up.
Mark mentioned something here about if it's there, take it. So when Jordan talks about fluidity in training, which means a lot of different things in a session. So sometimes you come to the session and maybe you have a certain number, but you know, sometimes the stars have lined up well. You've had a good night's sleep, you're well hydrated, your meals have been on point, stress is manageable, and you just feel like, if it's there, take it. Because those days don't come very often. And this seems to be one of those days. Oh yes.
Massive shout out to Trained by JP. New clothing, absolutely banging. Wait till I show you the top. It's definitely my favourite drop. Just for the tops and the jumpers. Definitely my style, so I love it. Uber 10 at checkout, discount code, remember that. Hey! Easy, come on!
Hey! Hey! Overshot. Lessons to be taken. Probably come back on 4.
Okay. Yep.
Yes. Okay.
There is no significant jumps in body weight, in actual weight. So look at this. 3.5, 6. 3.5, 7. 3.5, 8.5. 3 plates 9. 3 plates 10. As you can see here, creeping in reps up, a rep by rep, 5 kilo by 5 kilo. If you are taking significant jumps in loading or repetitions, you are likely changing your form to make the lift easier, not harder. The whole point is taking standardized progression across every single lift, across every single set. That is true progressive overload. That is how you utilize the logbook. Write that down. It's not a fucking loading game now. Come on. Beautiful. Way fucking better. Yep. Fight for it, come on. If it's a 50-50, you're taking it, come on. Yep. You're eccentric. Well done. Told you 3.5. Let's talk about dips. The way I like to utilise the dip machine is, it's not an isolation movement, it's a compound movement. It's a fantastic movement that has great carryover for shoulder function. So what I tend to do on dip machine, I tend to lean slightly further forward and I challenge everything. This movement, when done correctly, going through full range of motion, making sure that you actually stop in full stretch and fully shortened range, will completely trash your tricep, your front delt, and your lower pec. So that is the goal here. I'm not trying to just bias tricep, I'm trying to treat it as for what it is. It's a great compound movement that has benefits across all your muscles that actually involve pushing. So take an opportunity to actually take to full advantage of this movement and aim to attack everything with full range of motion and all out intensity. Dips 1-on-1, write it down. Game time. How many reps? All of them. That's the goal, to get 20 with a stack. I'm not quite there yet, but I'll fucking get there. She said it now. Right. Oh! Drive. Beautiful. Chin tuck. Stay there. Yeah. Again. Beautiful.
Yes. This is Gustavo.
12. Side laterals 1-on-1. Upper arm slightly in front of your rib cage. Posture fixed. Rib cage tucked, core contracted, pelvis tucked. From here, do not restrict your scapular motion. Don't restrict your shoulders. Free the scapula. That's the movement I'm trying to create. Fist into the floor, and again, drive out and then up. In order for your arm to fully abduct, you cannot keep your shoulder force down. If you do that, it can actually create all sorts of issues. You need to let it move and go here. You need to allow your scapula to work for your arm to actually fully lift and your actual delt to work. That's key. So full range of motion and free the scapula. So again, we're challenging the delt in the fully shortened range where it's still fresh. So we are adding a specific pause in the shortened range, 2-second pause at top. Again, I set 1. Set 2, we'll just kind of micro pause. Like I explained previously, we're trying to challenge the muscles across all full contractile ranges when they are fresh, and then change the resistance profile when they actually get weaker as we go down the line. So setting 1 is an even resistance profile. I do prefer even resistance profile on this piece, as the shortened ranges, they're not that great. Just because there's nothing here, which I do not like. And then the second set is going to be setting 5. Once we start introducing third and fourth set, that's when we'll drop it at setting 3, which overloads just purely length and range, where the delt is strongest and then drops off where it's the weakest. That's better. That's enough, partials. So as I said earlier now, setting 5, we're matching the strength curve of our musculature with the resistance profile of the machine.
Definitely time to reduce the volume next week. Things are starting to creep up on me. That it was a good reflection when I picked up the wrong load on the shoulder press. I overshot a bit and I'm a bit frustrated at myself because I know better. Just because you know better doesn't mean we always do better. And there's a very, very fine line between knowing better and doing better. And this is why repetition is essential. Over the years, they say, where does wisdom come from? Wisdom comes from the mistakes that we've made in the past. So I should learn from that going forward.
Third set edition for this week, and we changed the resistance profile to primarily load the lengthen range, which is a stretch. Now, this and cables, I believe, is a far superior movement. We're trying to target this out. Your delta is strong here, it's very weak here. So if you're ever going to utilize dumbbells for your lateral work, always start with them when you're fresh. They're pretty much useless within your certain programming during the later on the session. There's only specific uses that ever programming that in for later on the session, and generally it will be as a tag on to other body parts. Like that now. This is my favourite variation of a tricep pull down when it comes to your natural work. So, few simple cues: lean into your working leg, keep your body weight on the same side leg as the arm you're working with, lock your upper arm into your lat. Your upper arm, so your humerus, stays in a fixed position. Again, the function of tricep is flexion and extension at the elbow. So you want to mimic the function of your tricep when performing this movement. So you're going to see me do it in actual real time now. So get your stance right, lean into the working leg, keep your upper arm fixed into your lat, upper arm doesn't move. Full stretch, pause in the stretch, extend, fully contract, pause, and then drive back up. The beauty of your natural work as well is if you're training on your own or your training partner's afoot, you can self-assist as well. So get the reps finished off. Now, like I said, I'm not really taking in 4 reps, but on this exercise I've only got 1 set because my volume is still pretty much lowered. So if I've got a 50-50 rep, I'll take it.
Once again, like you see, Kuba has a different way of stabilizing the upper arm. I prefer to press this arm, so this arm keeps a check of that upper arm and the shoulder integrity. There's no wrong way and right way. Kuba's just very, very aware of his body, and he can just go from here, keeping everything still that should be still. I prefer just to have insurance there, to keep that there, but I can also use this to create counter force from the other arm. So press the arm against this, and then that just creates a bit more force. Right. But like I say, you can do it both ways. Kuba's just very aware of his own body, and he's repeated this movement so many times.
Arm training 101. Prioritize a push down first. That'll overload the shorten range, which is again where you're weakest, and follow that on with a movement that's ideally overhead, overloading the lengthen range. You can use a dumbbell if you have enough skill to do so, enough mobility to do so. Alternatively, you can use cables with a rope attachment or anything else like a cuff as well, or even a D handle, whatever your preference is. Now, start with all on the shortened range, and then finish on the lengthened range above the head ideally. Now, that way, you're challenging your muscles across all contractile ranges, which is key to get the most out of them. One of the best natural powerlifters and bodybuilders of all time, about to do a heavy, heavy squat. Shoot for 20. 20. Something like that. That's what you're getting then. 220 kilo, 20 reps. That's what it's shooting for, just casually. So let's go. Come on now. Work for it. Come on. Yeah. 5 fucking reps. Let's go. Yeah. More. Come on. Let's go now! Work! Work! Again! Again! Do not fucking stop now! Again! No! Do not fucking walk it back! One more fucking rep! Yep.
So that is a wrap, guys. It's a good session. This is my second day this week coming in. We did legs on Monday, and then we've done push today. And I might come back for pull tomorrow. And you might ask me why am I traveling from Manchester to come up here. And it's because I have a good friend in Cuba. I have a strong friend in Cuba. And I also have a weak friend in Cuba. Now, I don't say weak to put him down. I say weak because I'm weak as well. But we complement each other. So my point is, do not hang out with people who don't complement you. Do you know what I mean? Hang out with people who complement each other. And as a result, you'll complete each other. Do you know what I mean? So people hang out with people who they're better than, then they feed their ego so that they're big fish in the pond. I'm like, no. This week, I'm 2.5 weeks out. I take myself out of my comfort zone. I come here where Cuba will expose me. Do I feel any lesser if he pulls me on something? I don't. That's why I came here. Are you with me? Because he completes me. Anywhere where I've got blind spots, he covers those blind spots. And as a result, I then achieve my goal for coming here. So if there's something to take, guys, humility is the antidote to progress. To be able to do what I did, you need to humble yourself. To be able to come into an environment where people are better than you, or where people complete you. And at what point you can get to have a new experience and enjoy and go into a newer level. And this is why you come here. And when Cuba was like a couple of weeks out, not this year, even last year, he trained at FLF for the last 2 weeks because he came there and I just carried him through the sessions. It's not to say I'm better than him, and this is not to say he's better than me. And I couldn't care less whether he was better than me because we don't have everything in our arsenal to match all our needs. You know, some people can be doctors, some people are good nurses, some people are good firemen, but a fireman still needs a doctor, right? And a doctor still needs a nurse. Are you with me? And the barber still needs another barber to cut their hair. So my point is, if you can take anything, is build good relationships. Don't hang out with people who will compete against you. Hang out with people who will complement you and complete you. I've not got much to say on the training aspect. You've seen everything else, and you're on Kuba's channel, so Kuba will cover that. For me, this is the stuff I enjoy talking about, the stuff we all struggle with. As you can see today, I've made choices that I should not have made. And like I said earlier, we all know better, but we don't always do better. So that's something to think about.
What is good, my people? So I hope you enjoyed the content today. I appreciate you all tuning in. Please like, share, subscribe. Show me some love, show Alex some love, and show my people some love. I appreciate you all, guys, and we'll be back again soon. Again, if you find value in this, support me, support the channel, like, share, subscribe, do all the fun stuff, and comment below. I do appreciate it. I appreciate the support, guys, as always. Peace out for now.